You noble diggers, all stand up now.
Welcome, comrade. Never forget the forms.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to my channel. Today we will be talking about what is a revolution. A revolution is a complete circle, right? It is a globe, a sphere turning on its axis so that it makes one complete revolution. And so it's a metaphor. Right? It's a metaphor that means a return to the ideal, right? A return to the principles of the past, of the people's principles. It's like Superman flying backwards around the earth. That's what the metaphor means, though, right? In reality, what historians talk about, what historiographers talk about, is the capture of an imperial government by public outcry, by public rage, and a complete rejiggering, a complete reconfiguring of that imperial power, right? Examples of revolution are Haiti, France, France again, Russia, and China. Haiti counts because the whole country of Haiti was formed out of it, right? And also it counts as imperial power because the sugar plantations were so vital in the global economy at that point. It's hard to get across. It's worse than oil, I would say, is how most people should understand it. But the French government's dependence on the sugar incomes were astronomical at that point. And so it allows imperial power to rest there in what is essentially a giant plantation. There was no revolution in America. No successful one, at least. The historians, historiographers always talk about a revolution in the early period, right? Between the 7 Years' War, the French and Indian Wars, and the Revolutionary Wars, the so-called Revolutionary Wars. What historians see is that there was a revolutionary fervor, a moment, but not a successful one, by the Massachusetts colonies, right? The descendants of the Roundheads, of the parliamentarians, and these are the middle to middle upper class people who emigrated from England and then started the Puritan colonies that focus a lot on liberty and uh, hard work and industry. Right? This is the disposition of the people that was made there, right? And they were captured, they were subjected, they were channeled by the aristocrats to the south. In Virginia and southwards, the majority of the upper class nobility is descended from cavaliers, from the royal side of the English Civil War. These are direct descendants of Norman knights. And so they had their financial interests, right? These Norman knights, these grand landowners of the New World, and they felt it threatened. Not threatened by these Massachusetts people, though, but threatened by the crown. Right? The crown had international obligations and duties, right? And so there are many things that the crown has promised to the world that the American planter class hated. Right? The chief among them was the Royal Proclamation of whenever, I can't remember right now, 1750, 40, I don't know, somewhere in there. The Royal Proclamation is the Crown's main document for guiding relations with the natives, right? And essentially it guarantees them sovereignty in their lands. And that's unacceptable to an expansionist planter class, to the aristocrats of this new, cavalier Norman aristocrat class, like I was talking about. And so they capture the American Revolution. It is not a revolution, it's a conservative revolt, right? If it was a revolution, it would have had revolutionary fervor. It would have actually delivered rights to new classes of people. It didn't. It didn't at all. And in fact, during the Revolutionary War, the bottom of the social structure fought more vociferously with the British, right? They offered emancipation from slavery, right? And eventually did emancipate the slaves 30 years before the Americans, right? So this is not a revolutionary movement, it's a reactionary movement. It's a conservative revolt, right? And the difference between a revolt and a revolution is a revolt is just uh, going against authority, right? Going against power. And a revolution is a complete capture of the system to return it to ideals. The Americans never completely captured. They were fine with their chunk of the Anglo Empire, right? And they would govern it as they saw fit. But they were completely integrated into the world Anglo Empire, right? And what's more, the British didn't lose the Revolutionary War, they let it happen, right? They are far seeing, perspicacious, they are uh, very cunning men. And they knew that the profits that they would make from trade with the New World, right, as these Americans took on all the dishonor of genociding the natives, right, the crown is spared from the indecency, the indignity of going back on its word for expansionist purposes, right, and the Americans can take all the blame. And with this profit, they conquered India, right, and India fueled the eastern half of the Anglo Empire, while the Americans fueled themselves on the continent they despoiled and pillaged. It's always been one Anglo-American empire, right? There's more fractious history between the Eastern and Western Roman Empire than there is between Britain and America. And when it comes to being challenged by a different language group, they always unite, right? The Germans, the Italians, the Japanese, the Russians, the Chinese, they see survival as a linguistic affair, right? And that this petty ideological squabble between John Locke, the Americans, and Thomas Hobbes, the British, it's just words, right? Words are wind. So, revolution is a word, right? It's my painter's brush. I use it artistically. I as with all words, I play with them. They are not real, right? We're too early for our revolution, right? The timing is off. Things have not contradicted to a sharpening point yet. I believe that naturally, historically, that this was meant to happen or is going to happen in the 2035 to 2045 range. That the pressure cooker will create such intense uh, contradictory forces that it will explode violently. All right. And then we look to history on proportions and casualty rates. And the English Civil War and the Napoleonic Wars killed 10%. 10% of people, right? It's a big number nowadays. If we were to do an English Civil War in North America, 40 million dead. That's what that would be, right? 40 million. And that's, not mentioning the widespread cannibalism, debauchery, rape, pillage, slaughter, torture, the complete immiseration of the human condition. I believe that's what this would carry, right? The war slips ideals from men. It commands you to be material. But even though we're too early for our revolution, we have to press on, right? We have to do it, right? And we have to do it because of the environmental collapse that's incoming, right? No revolution has faced this pressure before or known the future so certainly, right? And what we know is that we've messed up. We've put too much carbon in the air. We put too many gases in the air. And now the heat that is coming from the sun is trapped and is cooking the global ecosystem, right? We will have very quickly more refugees than we can handle, hundreds of millions, and then closely following that, billions starved to death, right? Unacceptable. I will not accept it. And so this is my plan, right? This is my plan. I'm going to pervert the word revolution itself, right? I will bend history in this moment, right? The master Shifu from Kung Fu Panda is what I keep thinking about. Is um, yeah. So and the plan, just to restate the plan, right? We here on this channel are going to push that the Anglo Commonwealth, Canada, Australia, Britain, and others are going to apply to America for statehood, right? The way we will do this is we reach out to the American liberals, tell them the plan, and then elect a council of celebrities, popular commentators, to take applications from the three capital cities of the main kingdoms, Canada, England, and Australia, and then try and elect a mayor there, a socialist mayor who supports our position. This will capture the zeitgeist, right, and push this Reformation moment, right? This moment of rewriting all the documents, UN, Constitution, all of them will get to be rewritten in this moment as the Commonwealth joins America formally, right? And here's a promise for you. The question that sparked this thing was, when do I start to not uh, obey these people, right? And just follow my own will. Never, never is the answer, right? I'm going to flash the Friedrich Engels quote here. But yeah, no, I'm asking the audience for literally unheard of power, right? Power that history can't imagine, right? I'm going to change the globe with it, right? I'm going to rewrite historical documents, right? Just on a whim, basically. And that is asking a lot from the audience, right? I don't deserve power. I don't deserve that, right? And so I make a promise to you. I'm never going to hold it, right? I have the prophecy. I see the future. I know what needs to be done. I can fix it all, right? And I also promise to you that I don't want it, right? We can put these people in, we can start a machine that believes in what I've said, right? And you can all do it yourself. Diocletian and Cincinnatus, these are people to look up to in history, right? They got power, they had power, they fixed a breaking system, right? The sufferings of tens of millions of souls weighed on them, and they fixed it, right? Maybe not perfectly, maybe it could have been better, right? But they did their best. And that's what I want. I want to retire to a farm, and I want you all to beg me to come back to give my opinion on things. And I will say to you, if you knew what cabbages I could grow, you would not ask me. Right? It's dishonorable to talk into a camera. Right? It's dishonorable to be political publicly. Right? But literally the end of civilization is approaching. And so I have to do this, and I cannot wait to give it up. I promise to give it up. I don't want power. I don't want it. I'm not fit for it. But I see the world, and basically, unless we do something here, civilization's fucked. This whole planet is fucked. Thank you. Have a good day. Hello, you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you. This channel has one mission: to prevent civilizational collapse associated with climate change. to prevent 100 million refugees by 2035, to stop 7 billion from starving to death by 2075. And we will do this through one main vehicle. We mean to unite the Anglosphere. We will do this by convincing the Commonwealth of His Majesty King Charles III to apply for statehood as one. And then with this new power, we will be able to negotiate in good faith with the rest of the world on how to tackle this crisis. Thank you and enjoy.